Unfortunately, I fell into a very severe, dark, deep depression. It was very long and dark. Couldn't get off the sofa. I couldn't eat. I was isolating. And what really scared me was the actual thought that suicide might be a way out.
Welcome to another episode of Limitless the Podcast. Today I'm in the beauty of Phuket with a true hero, a sports athlete here, someone who I know very well, Sterling. Sterling, warm welcome to you. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Thank you very much. This is a great opportunity and an honor and a pleasure to be with you here today.
Fantastic. I normally see you in the pool. You're one of my swimming buddies.
Usually.
Yeah.
Or the ocean.
Yeah. So how's your weekend so far?
The weekend has been great. Had a good, tough swim yesterday, and then out to dinner with some of the teammates. Had a great 12-step meeting on Saturday with 27 people, and we had fellowship afterwards with 10 or 12. So I couldn't ask for a better weekend.
Fantastic. And the reason you're here today, Sterling, is because you're someone who truly inspires me. The story, your resilience, and to show up at age 71 the way you are, I think many of the listeners will really be inspired. Before we dig into your journey,
Sure.
Maybe you can just share with the listeners a bit about your journey and your story.
Sure. I'll be brief about that because at 71 it could go on, but I won't let that. So anyway, I'm from the Midwest, U.S. Immediately after I graduated, I moved to Santa Barbara, California. I was a competitive springboard diver in school, and then had the opportunity to be an Olympic diving assistant coach at Ohio State, which was a great honor. From Santa Barbara, I was fortunate to have worked my way into being the exclusive distributor for, in its day, a very famous brand of fitness equipment. Then I was asked if I would please come to Shanghai, China, of all places, at age 49 and take on a large role as the director of mergers and acquisitions for a company who was acquiring Chinese companies to take them IPO. I had never done anything like that, but the CEO said, that doesn't matter. I know you'll figure it out. So I did that for 10 years and then moved to Phuket, and here I am today.
Fantastic. And so certainly you've been around the world and now in Phuket. And I met you just as the world was coming out of the pandemic. And I remember seeing you then going through a difficult time. And I hope it's not too painful to take you back there, because I think that's where we're going to hopefully give some inspiration for people, because you obviously come out of that. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had this conversation. So
That's right.
maybe you can share what was happening to you during the pandemic. I remember you went through some challenging times.
Very, very difficult times. And if I become emotional, I hope that's okay. That's part of the journey. But I know the pandemic was difficult for everybody on a global basis. Yet it was also very individual for each of us. So I lost my mom during COVID. It was very difficult circumstances. She was in a retirement home, which she thrived in and loved. But when the pandemic came, they went into lockdown. So the family had no visitors. Then they closed the dining room and they were delivering meals to people's doors, which meant the activity, the socialization, ended. The exercise ended. And it wasn't very long before she passed. So it was a very difficult passing. And to make it worse, because of the pandemic, we were never able to have a proper funeral. Even though the family is religious, they have a family plot. That's where she should be. And today we weren't able to resolve that. So it was a very, very difficult time. And I wasn't able to get back there. Compounded right after that, my partner of 8 years had a very severe total schizophrenic breakdown. Very, very difficult to watch someone who you love completely and totally lose their mental capacity, to have the fear that in a schizophrenic episode, self-harm is a very real possibility. And it was very painful that I simply had to come to grips with the fact that I couldn't help. I couldn't do anything about it. It was more than I could deal with, and he was not safe. So I had to return known to the safety of his family and home village, where he'd be safe. And I had to come to the realization that I may never see him again. Very difficult. That also brought up some very difficult memories. My first partner died in my arms when he was age 30. Although that was many, many years ago, something that went on through the pandemic brought up those tough memories. So in trying to get through recovery of that, I turned around and had a very severe motorcycle accident. I broke 5 ribs, punctured a lung. It was a big setback. I got home from the hospital, pneumonia, back in ICU, another setback. But we're still here today to talk about it and the journey.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing those painful memories, and I'm very sorry about your loss.
Thank you.
And so you weren't able to grieve, is my understanding. Then you weren't even able to attend the funeral. Can you elaborate on that? How was that?
Yes. I'm a firm believer of how important grief is. Been through, a lot of education along those lines, and I know how important it is. Unfortunately, I fell into a very severe, dark, deep depression. I knew what they looked like coming on. I have fought them off in the past. It is in the family history, but nothing so severe as this one. It took me to depths that I had never been before. It was very long and dark. I couldn't get off the sofa. I couldn't eat. I was isolating. And what really scared me was the actual thought that suicide might be a way out.
I'm sorry to hear that. And that is, as humans, we can easily come to that conclusion that perhaps that's the only way out. And I'm so glad that you didn't go that way and that you're here today.
Me too.
And a true inspiration. So what was it that made you show up? Because I remember you fighting. I remember you really working so hard just to show up. But what was it, if you go back to that time, that made you pull through? What was it? Because I think that's where the listeners can learn from you.
I think deep down inside all of us, at our true essence, is the will to live and is the will to strive. And I think happy, joyous, and free, is a birthright. So even at the depths of the depression, there was still a twinkle of light. And I just needed that twinkle to then try to pull myself up out of that. But I absolutely couldn't have done it alone. If I had continued to isolate, I wouldn't be here today. I have been in 12-step programs for 36 years. I'm proud of that. And my regular meetings had become a habit. And they became such a habit that I would go to meetings even in the depths of my depression. I think it's very important that I learned early on, and it's important for people to know that it's necessary to be vulnerable. And in the safety net of the 12-step meetings, where there is no judgment, I was able to cry, have a good, hard cry during a 12-step meeting. And the other members simply push over a box of Kleenex, go on with the meeting, support me afterwards. But, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 12 of those started helping. Then I'm fortunate to have been a secretary of the Saturday meeting. And no matter what, no matter how bad I felt, no matter how much I didn't want to get off the couch, I had a responsibility to chair that meeting. So I did show up for those meetings. And I think it was that was literally my lifesaver. And I think it was because of the routine that I had the fortune of have been in it for so many years that it just became a habit. It became routine, and it became something that I simply wouldn't miss, no matter how, deep or dark or sad, I may be.
Yeah, so what I heard from you here, Sterling, is number one, you said you believe that everyone have that inner drive, that willingness to live. That was the first one. And secondly, you're a proud member of a 12-step program, as am I. Yes. And you had that service obligation is what I'm hearing. And even though you didn't feel like it, you still showed up at least once a week or more than that. You showed up.
Yeah, I doubled down on meetings during that time. I knew that was my lifeline. Yeah. So it was more like 3 or 4 a week during that period.
Yeah, so that's surrender. So surrendering to, despite you didn't want to show up, you still showed up.
I did.
And when you did show up, you were vulnerable. You were sharing and you had a good cry.
Very important.
So I think these are the key things that I'm hearing here, Sterling, because that's where I know many would choose another path. Many others would perhaps isolate and not show up.
Right.
Do you have some, should I say, recommendations for those who might be listening and maybe they're not as blessed as us to have a 12-step program? What should they do then?
Right. Well, I have to say that I believe this isolating completely and totally during a dark time, I think that's a death wish. I think the connection is very, very important. And I don't think it has to be in a 12-step program. It could be in whatever that means to you. As you know, I'm involved in several men's groups. They could be online. It could be as simple as going to the park and saying hello to fellow people. And someone's with a baby stroller and tell them how beautiful their baby is, and helping someone across the street and just get out of the room, get out off the sofa, get into the outside, no matter what the weather is like. And that's where the hope begins. But I think in isolation, it can only go one way.
Yeah. And I think this is the absolute key what I'm catching so far, really to discipline ourselves, to force ourselves to go out and make that connection, even if we don't feel like it. We are social animals and we need that for our survival.
We must have it.
There's been so much talk, and we understand that we will come soon to physical health and mental health, but social health in your case seems to be the one that really helped you at that time.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. I needed that. I needed the human connection. I believe we all need the human connection. And now we know that the Center for Disease and Controls has put loneliness as dangerous as smoking. So we now know from a scientific background accepted by, government agencies that loneliness kills. We must get out.
Yeah, so the social health is so important here. So it is that human connection that help you to push through here, but it has to be more. You also spoke about the willingness to live and so on.
Yes.
So the connection, the social health, I understand. And then you had your 12-step group, but then there was your sports journey also. Maybe you can share about what happened there.
Yeah, I would be happy to, because that has really been a literal game changer. And if I look back, I've been very blessed. I've traveled the world. I've had great opportunities. I'm a very, very fortunate person. But being introduced to sporting, getting back into it at my age, it has honestly been the best thing that's ever happened to me. So, and I wouldn't be there if it wasn't through the 12-step programs. So a mutual friend of ours who is in his 60s swims with the same group that we do. And he encouraged me, come and join the group. And I just resisted. I couldn't imagine. At my age, I only have one discipline. I can only swim. The accidents over the years have taken running off the map or cycling off the map. But swimming, was still a possibility. I still didn't think I fit in because he's a champion. Even though he's in his 60s, when he swims, he wins. And I was just a solo swimmer doing long-distance ocean swimming. So I was certainly familiar with it, but I just didn't think I belonged in a competitive group. And then the second person within the 12-step community, unknowing that our friend Bill had suggested it, you, Nick, said, Sterling, I think you would benefit from joining this group of triathletes. There is no judgment on age. There is no judgment on ability. Please give it a try. And with that, I said, okay, it's two different people that haven't talked to each other about suggesting this might be a good idea. So I did. I showed up at the pool and I talked to the head coach, and he just said, okay, get in the number one lane and just swim. And so that was the beginning of the journey, and it has been a life changer. I mean, we know that physical fitness helps us psychologically. We know of the neurotransmitters, the dopamine, the serotonin, the norepinephrine that we get from physical activity and rigorous physical activity. And then there's getting in better and better shape. And how does that feel? It's just like going to the gym. And the next time you can move up a weight and move up a weight, you get better and better. Or you're on a diet and you lose a few pounds, so you're motivated to lose a few more. So for me in swimming, it's about the time. Can I do 100 meters a few seconds faster, a few seconds faster, a few seconds faster? And for me, it's the ocean. I'm an open ocean swimmer, long distance ocean open swimmer. And for me, it's, that is my happy place. It's me and the good Lord and the fish and the beautiful ocean. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing, Sterling, is that first you had your sort of group at the 12-step program. Now you had a second tribe in your life. And it's the set coaching group in Phuket that I also belong to.
Yes.
And I lived in Singapore for a few years, and I made a move and a shift over to move sort of my back office to Phuket for the same reason, because I realized that social health is so important, to be with a tribe. And in your case, it was swimming. Did you have a history in swimming as well? Was that part of your life earlier?
Well, again, I was a springboard diver. And although that's not swimming, the diving team is part of the swimming team. So we would actually have to dive in between the swimmers and hope that we didn't. So they were all my friends, and I did learn to swim very young, but also I'm very fortunate. I've been scuba diving for 57 years. So even as a teenager, I was able to discover, some of the great places of the world to dive. So I've been a above water person, an underwater person, all of my life. And now, to no surprise, I found some research that speaks of actually being in salt water gives us additional physiological benefits. So it doesn't surprise me that I was led to scuba diving and then led to open ocean swimming. And now, if I add the competitive element to it, that gives me even more push and more desire. And I'm a very competitive person. And the longer I am involved, the more competitive I get. I'm very fortunate. I've been on the top of the podium a few times now. And at my age, I'm 71. My first goal was to be in better shape at 70 than I was at 50. And I have far surpassed that goal. So my next goal is I don't want to just win 70 and over. I want to win from 65 to 70 and then starting to work my way down till I can swim faster than people 10 years younger.
That's a fantastic target. So what I'm understanding now from you, Sterling, it's the combination then of having your tribes, having your community, the physical health with that, and then the fun element, the competitive elements. Indeed, I'm happy to see you on top of the podiums as well, and looking forward to seeing you on many more. So you're adding that spark and fun and meaning into your life that is so important.
Yes.
And at age 71 now, how do you look at life differently?
I look at it beautifully. I think age is just a number. I never worry about what's the end game. I'm going to continue to study longevity. I eat well and better the more I learn. I work on my sleep and my sleep hygiene, my physical fitness, and the things that it's not just about the years, it's about quality of life. So I want to be able to maintain quality of life, for as long as I can. And hopefully through my experience, there's something, to give back to someone who may, want to know what it's like to be at that age and yet still be in good mental and physical condition.
Fantastic, Sterling. And I'm so happy to have you part of my men's group as well. Where we are sharing. And for anyone who's listening who don't have a tribe, reach out to us.
Yes.
Just finally, Sterling, if anyone who's listening who might be struggling, any advice or recommendations, what should they do?
Well, one, dig deep for that twinkle, because there is a twinkle. And then please don't isolate, no matter what, no matter how dark, no matter how much you want to stay in, do get out. It's really important. And then lastly, never give up. never, never, never give up, no matter how dark, no matter how deep, no matter what the troubles are. They can always be overcome. And there's always, a bright light at the other side of difficult times.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sterling, for coming on the show today to share about your life, your journey, and how you pulled yourself out of that black hole, that dark depression, and finding life through community, through a tribe, the 12-step program, and through the set coaching, the swimming group. And I'm so happy to see you here today.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, my pleasure.
And thanks to all the viewers as well.
Thank you.